around. It really fucking makes it
always
pop.
helps.
Let us know when you're ready. 36.3. Okay, so we went upstairs and we read a bunch of stuff. There's this guy, Doug Band, who used to work for Clinton, Bill. And he's kind of feuding with Chelsea. Chelsea had earlier accused him of having a conflict of interest between Tenco, which is his company, and the Clinton Foundation. And then Band hears that Chelsea is investigating. Doug Band has heard from a Bush daughter that Chelsea is looking into conflicts of interest between the Clinton Global Initiative and the Clinton Foundation. And Doug Band sends an email to John Podesta saying, Chelsea better butt out, what with her, using foundation funds for the wedding and getting paid from the foundation and taxes. And so there's this one email that gets leaked from a guy who's already in kind of a beef with Chelsea. And we looked at several articles, and we can't find any further pursuit of this pissy email that was leaked. So it's not substantiated that she used $3 million for from the foundation for her wedding.
The opposite is true. The email has not been retracted. The email is from Doug Band, who is a high-up person at the Clinton Foundation, and he's speaking offhandedly to Podesta about how Chelsea had been getting money siphoned from the foundation to her personal expenses.
Would you issue a FISA warrant based on that?
Because he's a witness. He was a high-up at the Clinton Foundation. If I said it or the Russian government said it, I would not. But given that he was in a position to know because he was a high-up at the foundation, then he is the expert witness on the subject.
Kind of, but he's just bitching offhandedly.
And that's why there's an FBI investigation going on right now.
Okay, so
about the Clinton Foundation.
Oh, then I get to say my motto, which is wait and see.
Okay, but you already have a witness at the organization.
Well, a guy who'd already been dissed by Chelsea.
Yeah, but
who's
the
in a
thing
beef
is,
with her.
But he didn't know that the WikiLeaks email would be released.
Yeah, but
he was speaking to somebody else.
He was speaking to Podesta.
He didn't go to the press and say this about Chelsea. He said this in private. So he had no reason to lie, Rick.
Well, except that Chelsea...
Rick, I'm speaking English. Even though he hated Chelsea, he had no reason to lie to Podesta because he didn't know that the email was going to be leaked.
Yeah, but when you're gossiping in email and just bitching and venting, that's not a high standard for 100% accuracy.
If you find out something is going to be investigated about Chelsea, and you write a letter to Podesta saying, listen, she's been getting money siphoned to her from the foundation. She better shut up. Do you have a reason to lie to Podesta? If you don't think that this is ever going to be leaked?
Well, in 2011 or 12, Chelsea had accused Doug Band of having conflicts of interest with his private company and the Clinton Foundation.
So he's lying. He's making this up to Podesta in order to get Podesta to think that the foundation that Doug Band is in charge of is giving money to Chelsea illegally. He's incriminating himself to get even with Chelsea.
No, I'm just saying he may be sloppily...
He's in charge of this
now
organization.
Who's interrupting me?
Okay, no, I just think it's funny. Go ahead.
No, the deal is like he may just be sloppily venting. But I can say wait and see. I mean,
if you were in charge of an organization or a high up in the organization that was giving money illegally to somebody outside the organization, would you make that up in an email, send it to somebody, and then assume it was going to get leaked to the public in order to get even with that person?
No, but if you're pissy and you're bitching, you're going to bring up...
You and I are working on the Rick and Lance show.
Yeah.
And we get a whole bunch of donations to help Haiti. and the Rick and Lance show takes the money and spends it on your daughter's wedding, and then I send a private email to somebody, hey, Rick, we shouldn't let people investigate because, we gave some money to that wedding. Would you think that I had done that to get even with Chelsea?
Well, it's not. I'd say, yeah, if you have a beef with Chelsea, you're going to list everything you may have heard about Chelsea.
If I was if I was a high up at the organization, it's my organization, I could be imprisoned for taking money that was supposed to be...
Did he even still work? He left in 2012. Did he even still work?
It doesn't matter. It happened while he was there. He left. The foundation gave the money the year 2010. He could be liable for prison time. You think he would put that in an email when you're embezzling funds from a charity? You think he'd put that in an email to get even with Chelsea?
Yeah, he's accusing Chelsea.
But he knew about it, so he would go down with her. It's his organization.
He's bitching to a guy on what he thought was a private email.
So if he thought it was a private email, why would he lie?
Because he's just bitching. It's like...
So he's making this up. He's making something up that makes him look like he's embezzling from a charity or knows about embezzling from a charity. He thinks Podesta's going to say, yeah, that's really bad that Chelsea did that and you knew about it.
He's mentioning scuttlebutt. Anyway, the Clinton administration or foundation's being investigated. Wait and see. We'll see what comes out. We'll see what freaking comes out. Bill Clinton has denied it as reason.
Why is it that you didn't know that Obama had...
Wait, are we going to do some more whataboutism?
Yeah, no, I'm actually curious. You knew all about Trump saying the word shit. You knew all about that. But you didn't know that Obama had tipped off the Iranians that one of the main terrorists in the world that had killed hundreds of Americans.
You can
don't
stop
interrupt me.
No, but you can
don't interrupt me.
But you're saying the same shit that's already been said earlier on the tape. All right, because we listened to.
How dare you yell at me?
No, you always fucking yell at me because we listen to two different groups of media. You listen to conservative shit. I listen to liberal shit. Okay. And the liberal shit, and you have no problem. You're going to agree with me. I know about Shithole because Shithole was all that was 24/7 was all over.
Yeah.
HuffPo, MSNBC, CNN.
And I listened to conservative, but I heard about it too.
Okay, but
I heard about Shithole, and you heard about Shithole.
But you asked why.
But the difference is you didn't hear, and don't interrupt me. This man, the head of the Quds forces, Soleimani, I think his name was Soleimani, General Soleimani, was responsible for killing hundreds of American soldiers in Iraq. Mossad wanted to assassinate him, and Obama tipped off the Iranians. I knew about that, but you didn't.
Okay.
Don't you think it's kind of sort of important?
I guess so.
No, is it important or not?
Okay, yes.
That the American president tipped off the Iranians that a terrorist that killed American soldiers
we've already been
was going to be assassinated. He saved the life of a man that killed American soldiers.
Okay, so here's the deal. I don't know. I haven't heard anything about this story. Now, we've been upstairs twice to read shit. I don't want to go up there again. I'll make it homework and I'll read about it. And the next time we meet, I'll be able to talk about it. But now I don't want to spend any more time on it.
This is a different subject. I want to know why I know about it, and I know about Trump saying shit. But you don't know anything about Obama doing
I just said it's likely because I listened to...
Yeah, and your people are lying to you.
Well,
My people are not. I heard both things. You didn't.
Okay, that's fine, but let's move on because you made your point. There's no more persuading.
I have another point.
Okay.
Did you know that black unemployment is the lowest it's ever been in history?
I know it's pretty low, yeah.
And you still think Trump's a racist?
Yeah.
So why is he doing so well for blacks in a way that Obama didn't?
Unemployment has been falling steadily, fairly steadily, the way...
So why didn't Trump do things that would make it so that blacks would still be harmed? Why is it that he's allowing the economic progress to keep helping blacks if he hates blacks?
A lowering tide lowers all ships, buddy.
Okay, so let me ask you another question.
I mean, but unemployment's been declining steadily since like Obama...
I know.
Since like 2011.
I know, you've fallen into my trap.
Okay, good.
Now I'm going to ask you a very important question.
Okay.
Because every Democrat that I talk to says, oh, the economy was doing better under Obama, and it's just Trump's just benefiting from that.
Well, that's okay.
Right?
That's
that's what you're saying. It was going down anyway, right?
No, you're making a crazy argument that somehow. No, wait. But here's what you're saying when you're saying that Trump wants a good economy. No, wait. You're saying that Trump wants a good economy, but that if he were a racist, he wouldn't want a good economy for black people.
Well,
how do you do that?
You would make policies that would hurt black people. You would harm black people.
Really?
But wait. There's something more important.
That's a ridiculous
There's
argument.
something more important. You won't be able to answer this one.
Okay.
Now listen to me.
But wait a second. You just accused me of being like every liberal who says that.
No, I knew you interrupted me before I could get to my point.
Okay. But hold on. But Trump deserves some credit.
Okay.
Trump just doesn't deserve 100% of the credit.
Okay, but let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
If Trump's policies are poor and Obama's policies are good, then shouldn't the economy be getting worse?
Well, I've got a couple things on this. One is, and we'll discuss both of them if you want. One is, his policies may or may not be shitty. And some of them are probably good, and some of them are probably shitty, and it also depends on which side of the political divide you're on.
No, it doesn't. Either things are getting better under Trump, in which case his policies must be good.
Well, no, that's...
No, but wouldn't Trump's policies be bad, and therefore things would be going worse? In other words,
no, you can't argue like that because I was trying to write a tweet a couple days ago, and I looked at what the stock market does under compromised presidents, because I have a theory that I've used I've used it to make money in the stock market, where when a president gets in trouble, there's a fairly high chance that the stock market likes it. Under Harding, at the end of before Harding died in office, the last year of his administration, back in 22 and 23, stock market goes up. I think under Carter, it did pretty well towards the end of Carter, when Carter was a joke. Under the end of Reagan, when Reagan was compromised by Iran-Contra. Under Clinton, when Clinton was compromised by sex and impeachment and everything, the stock market went up. Now, there are a couple instances where it didn't. Under Nixon, it didn't, because I think when shit gets too serious, the stock market gets a little scared. And it didn't go up under G.W. Bush because the whole economy it was just, it was the biggest crash since 29. But under a normally compromised president, which is, 6 out of the 8 compromised presidents, stock market likes it because when, the cat's compromised, the stock market experiences exuberance. So it could be that, Trump cut corporate taxes. Of course, the stock market's going to like that. Trump cuts regulations. Stock market's going to like that. Also, Trump is in this kind of swamp of his own creating, and the stock market's going to love that too, because a compromised president means that everybody's watching the mess, and the stock market can, corporations and all that can kind of do, what they want. They like the lack of of focus on regulation and stuff. The stock market likes a paralyzed political situation. So it's not just when you have good policies that the stock market goes up. It's also when the president is in a certain amount of trouble.
Okay, well, I'm not going to argue about that with you. I'm going to, because frankly, causation is not the same as correlation. But I will say this. We have a chance to see if Trump's policies are poor. And if they're poor, then the wonderful economy that he inherited from Obama should be going badly now. And it's not.
Well, the liberals will argue, and I think conservatives will argue too, that there's a lag time between bad policy and bad results. Like right now, it's January 14th and it's cold across the country, and it's going to be cold for another 6 weeks. But the days started getting longer on December 22nd. But it takes 2 or 3 months for the longer days to catch up with the Earth's atmosphere and heat things up so you get summer.
I think historically we would know by now if
he hasn't even been president for a year.
Yeah,
things take a while.
But why is it that things are humming right along and doing really, really well?
Well, I just listed 3 reasons.
I know, but those were like poetry.
What do you mean?
Well, you were talking about the days of December and things like that.
No, I'm just saying there's a lag for policies. Come on, it's frickin' science.
I'm not sure that's true. You're saying it, but
before I talked about summer and winter and all that crap, I said he cut corporate taxes.
Yes.
He is reducing regulations, even though he has overstated the number of regulations he reduced. And he's in a certain amount of political trouble, all of which the stock market tends to like. But also, after a while, an overheated stock market tends to go a little too crazy, and things get so it takes a while.
Well, I'm just saying that if okay, this is the last thing I'm going to say. If the economy doing well and the black unemployment doing well is because of Obama's policies, then Trump's policies should be reversing Obama's success, and they're not. Things are going better for blacks now than they ever have in the history of the United States, and he hates black people.
Well, all right, that's just a crazy argument. He wants the economy to go well more than he hates black people.
What would he do, just out of curiosity, if he really hated black people? What would he do to black people?
Well, you can be. I don't need to. That's not what I want to discuss. How racist he is or whatever.
No, you don't want to discuss that.
Well, no, I want to discuss how.
You know why you don't want to? Because you can't.
Well, I mean, he's got a whole fucking. But I don't want to go into that shit. What I want is the question I kind of asked at the very beginning of tonight's session, which is, what does it do? Or what are you worried? Let's just talk about like he compromises himself with his past history and with his demeanor.
I love his demeanor. I think he's fantastic. I'm glad if he called Haiti a shithole, that's great.
But
I don't care.
But 2/3 of the country doesn't find it presidential.
No, what matters is that we have a president that asks the tough question. Why do we need to import millions of welfare cases from the third world? Why are we doing that?
Well, that's really not encompassed by the term shithole countries.
But that's what that means, Rick. Oh. That's why you ask it. He's not asking. He's not asking why we're not getting more of those wonderful PhDs from Haiti. He's not asking what he's asking, why do we need these people? They're going to go on welfare, and they do.
Trump thinks that Trump had to have it explained to him that the majority of people on welfare are not black.
It doesn't matter whether they're black or not. The majority of immigrants to the United States go on welfare, and they compete with Americans for jobs. So he knows that, and he's asking why. Why do we continue to do this?
Wouldn't a better president?
Well, wait a minute. A president that cares about black people would not increase the number of people from the third world that are going to compete with them for jobs, for low-skilled jobs.
Oh, wait, so black people
have low-skilled jobs? Yes, they do. Black people need more than anything jobs for low-skilled people. And when you Democrats bring in immigrants from the third world, they take the low-skilled jobs from black people. Just like the black people in Libya are now being turned into slaves because Obama overthrew the Libyan government.
All right. What about it?
Don't interrupt me.
No, it's just what about it?
Why doesn't it bother you that he overthrew the Libyan government?
We already went over that.
But it doesn't bother you. You'd still vote for him.
I can be bothered by some...
You'd still vote for him.
Yeah.
Even though he overthrew the Libyan government and now black people are being turned into slaves by the thousands.
Would you hire a...
That overthrew the Libyan government?
Would you...
And turned it into a hellhole? No, I wouldn't.
So, would you extend the contract of Tom Brady because he threw like 14 interceptions this season?
Rick, anybody that overthrows a government and turns it into a chaotic hellhole dominated by terrorism and slavery should not be elected president of the United States. Don't you understand how important that was? All those thousands and thousands of people in Libya being turned into slaves?
Well, he can't be elected again because he's already been president.
Well, that was my alternative, the Clinton-Obama administration or Trump. And Clinton was the architect of the Libya policy. I only had one choice, Clinton, Obama, or Trump. And Clinton left Libya a hellhole where thousands of people are being turned into slaves and where the country's run by Al-Qaeda and ISIS. That's the legacy.
Are we doing anything now to
Not much we can do, Rick. It's already been done.
But I thought Trump was beating ISIS.
He's doing what he can.
All right, so
why isn't that important to you?
How many people in Libya?
Millions.
How many?
I believe there's at least 10 million.
All right, so we fucked up a country of 10 million.
For no reason. Just sheer stupidity.
Well, not for no reason. We had reason.
Well, actually, there may be more than 10 million, and we didn't have any reason.
Well, Gaddafi was a bad guy.
He had just given up his nuclear program to us.
All right.
In fact, that's one of the reasons Korea doesn't want to give up their nuclear program. Because after Gaddafi laid his country open, we attacked them.
It's the same way that, and I don't want to go, this is the same argument we had. I'm going to end it in a second. The same argument for fucking Hussein with Iraq. He got rid of his weapons of mass destruction. We went in there anyway, and we fucked up that country good.
Because Obama pulled the troops out.
No, initially we fucked it up in 2003.
Well, no, we liberated them.
Oh, really? And it worked out so well. Okay.
Because Obama pulled the troops out.
All right. Pass or play. Let's do pass or play.
Fire and Fury.
Fire and Fury, the Michael Wolff book.
I don't know anything about it. I don't care about it.
Okay. It's all part of the deal where I keep asking, can a president govern when 2/3 of the country thinks he's an a-hole? And, well, we're about to see. In the past, it's gone badly. And the book just adds to the narrative, whether or not it's 100% true.
I think only the brainwashed people believe that.
Yeah, but it's 2/3 of the country, buddy.
Yeah, and you're brainwashed.
You can say that, but there's plenty of brainwashing on the other side too. Okay, next thing.
Hawaii, how I learned to love the bomb.
Well, all right, so somebody screws up in Hawaii. They double click a button that tells Hawaii that for 30 minutes or 40 minutes, Hawaii panicked because everybody in Hawaii received a phone alert saying that a missile was headed their way. Now, you can't really blame this on Trump. You can reach and blame it on him by saying, well, if we had better relations with North Korea, but that's a frickin' reach. It's really somebody in Hawaii screwed up. You can also, it's kind of a reach to say, well, Trump was spending his 92nd day on the golf course in less than a year as president, and maybe he should have said something reassuring. But again, it's trying to pull Trump into something that he's kind of tangential to.
I will blame it on the Democrats because the people responsible for it were Democrats. Hawaii is a Democrat state with a Democrat government, and it was the Democrats that caused the problem. It's the state of Hawaii that runs their missile defense warning system. So It was the Democrats.
All right, so score one against the Democrats. Next thing.
Okay, DACA. Is it Democrats just wanting to not make a deal, or is it Trump that hates immigrants?
Go ahead, Rick. I don't have the
Okay, so it's bad form to compare Trump to Hitler, but a good strategy if you're going to be a dictator is to appeal to your base by going after a smallish, weakish minority. Hitler went after a bunch of minorities. He got his population riled up against the people that he had told his base were inferior. Cripples, communists, homosexuals, Jews. Trump plays the card where he wants to tell 200,000 El Salvadorans who've been here, many of them on a temporary basis for 17 years, since an earthquake devastated the country and also since crime and all that stuff. He says now they have to go home. 200,000, which is less than 1 in 1,500th. 2 people out of every 3,000 in America are El Salvadorans, a tiny minority. He goes after them to appeal to his base. DACA people are 800,000, which is 1/4% of the U.S. population. Go after, appeal to your base by going after smaller chunks of the population.
1/3 of the population of El Salvador lives in the United States. They should go home. We have no reason to accept these people. Personally, I think if they served in the military, any of these DACA people, they should be allowed to stay. Other than that, we have laws.
Yeah, well,
I'm not allowed to go to France and say, well, I've been here for a long time, so I get to stay.
Yeah, but we told them for 17 years they could stay.
Well, I don't care what the Democrats told.
What if a pair of El Salvadorans came over here in 2001, and they're here, and they've been allowed to stay for 17 years, and they have an 8-year-old kid, and they have a 13-year-old kid, both American citizens because they were born here.
They have to take them home. They have to go back to El Salvador.
Well, but the kids aren't El Salvadors.
Bring your kids.
They're not citizens of El Salvador. A kid can't go to France.
Well, you got a choice. They can either live with their parents or they can stay here in a foster home.
So you want to, yeah, all right, that's goofy.
It's up to them, though. If they are unwilling to take their children back home with them, then they're the problem, not the American government.
It seems like it's the American government's problem that they told them for 17 years that they can stay here.
Well, that's a pretty good deal. For 17 years, they were able to make untold wealth that they could never have dreamed of in their country. They can take that money back, they can take their university degrees back, and they can do very well in their home country. We gave them 17 years of prosperity. That should be fine. Why do they need more?
I don't know. They've bought houses. They have businesses.
Sell the
here.
house and you can buy half of El Salvador with the money.
some of the conditions in El Salvador that led us to keep renewing them for 17 years still exist. The crime, it's still not a...
Maybe they can go back and make El Salvador a nice place to live.
The crime is why they wanted to get out.
So that Americans will want to go to El Salvador. Why can't they fix their country? Why do we have to take the entire third world into America?
It's
you know,
200...
there are a lot of places in the third world that are bad to live in. Should we take all those people? Why don't we take the whole country of Pakistan? They have crime in Pakistan. Why don't we take everybody? Everybody that wants to come. Why don't we just take them all?
So you want to kick out 200,000 people who've been here for 17
Yeah,
years?
yeah.
Take
the wealth that you made while you were here and go back to El Salvador and live like kings. How bad is that?
Unless you get shot by the gangs that run El Salvador.
Okay, well, maybe El Salvador has to get its shit together. And us taking in all their people is not going to solve El Salvador's problems.
All right, next thing.
If you want your country to be better, they have to take care of their problems. Do you understand? We're enabling them. We're just making it so that when a country has problems south of the border, they just spew more people up here. Why don't they stay in their countries and solve their problems so that their country will be a nice place to live? Don't you understand? We can't prop up a corpse. Those countries have to fix themselves so that people will want to go live there.
We let them stay here for 17 years and build lives here.
And now it's time to go home. All right, is there something else?
The wall.
Oh, God.
Do we need the wall?
Well, Trump says that illegals are flooding over the border. And I don't have a problem with that because it's illegals coming over the border are supposed to be down at least 40% since Trump took office because of just everything that's going on, plus Trump. So, and the tide had already reversed to a great extent by shittier economic conditions in the U.S. and improving economic conditions in Mexico, in Central and South. Anyway, the number, for a while it was going the other way. There were more illegals leaving the U.S. than coming into the U.S., though Lance will argue, no, that those are bogus statistics, but illegal immigration is supposedly down by almost half, and Trump is saying that illegals are still flooding over and so I don't know. Do we need the wall? Well, already administration people are saying we don't need a full-on wall because natural features of geography make it so you don't need walls in places where there's, tough stuff to get over or through, rivers, mountains. They're saying that it can be a fence in some places. And what doesn't get talked about too much is that there already are fences and walls along, a significant chunk of the. So, I don't know that we need a full-on Trump-esque wall along all 2,000 or 2,200 miles of border. Maybe there are places that need reinforcement. There probably are. There certainly are. I don't know that we need the full-on thing that Trump speechifies about. You just need, you can make the border more effective. You just don't necessarily need to. Anyway, go ahead, Lance.
The reason the Democrats are against building a wall is the same reason that they won't deport criminals that are released from prison in California. They won't deport anybody that could possibly vote Democrat. So I think we need a wall. We also need equipment so that we can hear underneath the border because the Mexicans have built tunnels under our border. And so they need sensitive eavesdropping equipment that can hear underneath. So we need a wall. We need more border, more equipment. We need effective roads for the INS people, or what are they called? The border patrol. We need roads. We need walls. We need eavesdropping equipment. We need more people. We need them to be better armed, and we need to control the border. And,
all right, so,
and because I love America, I want America's border to be safe. And because the Democrats don't, they have stood in the way of anything that could possibly keep them from getting new voters. And to me, it's an outrage.
All right, some of this is horseshit, but
what was horseshit? What was horseshit?
Because I just said that we could maybe use some. Our disagreement is about degree of stuff we need on the border.
No, the Democrats refuse to build a wall. They want the border open. Hillary Clinton wanted an open border. She said it.
But
and the Democrats now don't want a wall.
I bet if you surveyed Democrats.
The Democrats in Congress, those are the ones that need to allocate the money for the wall. They refuse.
Well, I mean, they've been given this deal where they have to allocate a certain number of billions of dollars.
And they're not going to do it.
In order to get DACA.
I don't care about DACA. If they wanted a wall, Rick, they wouldn't make it a bargaining chip, would
Trump
they?
is the one who made it a bargaining chip.
Well, why make it a bargaining chip? If I say
well,
to
for
you,
one thing, and the
if I
liberals
say
like
to
to
you, here's a piece of chocolate cake, and you like chocolate cake, why don't you just say, yes, I'll have that chocolate cake?
Well, how much is the wall supposed to cost?
$18 billion.
All right, so, you know, I bet you could get the Democrats to...
No, you can't. Not one single vote. They refuse.
But I thought what liberals like to say at this point in the argument is, I thought Mexico was supposed to pay for the wall.
That's irrelevant.
Okay, fine. But I bet you if Trump offered them a deal, he said, you know, we've looked at the border, and to reinforce the most sensitive parts and to bring new tech into your underground surveillance tech, that we could get this done, that we could reduce the porosity of the border by 70% by spending $3 billion. Would you guys, you Democrats, say $3 billion for the border, not $18 billion, but $3 billion, to start out a deal? I bet you get a certain number of Democrats to go along with that.
Okay,
I'd go along with that.
January the 14th. Rick is now parting with the Democrat Party. They will not support a wall. There will not be one single vote in the Senate for a wall. The reason is the Democrats don't want a wall. If they wanted a wall, they'd vote to fund the wall.
Well, it's also they're being forced to trade a wall for DACA. Anyway, next thing.
No, actually, they're not being forced to trade a wall for DACA. They can have both. He's offering them DACA and a wall.
Yeah, but that's the deal. You don't get DACA unless you get the wall.
Right, but they're not going to do it because they don't want the wall.
They don't want it anyway.
They don't want the wall for under any circumstance. If they wanted, it's like I said, if you want a wall, then you just take the wall, DACA or no DACA. But they don't. Your party is at odds with your opinion. You don't agree with the Democrats.
No, I pretty much agree with them.
Then why aren't they giving you the wall you said you wanted?
Well, Trump has set it up to make it look like the Democrats don't want the... let's move next thing.
Okay, final, and let's end with a happy note. It's Oscar season. What do you think predictions in terms of Best Picture?
You know, The Shape of Water is getting a lot of positive. We don't even know the nominations, the 6 to 10 Best Picture nominees yet. I think they come out next week or the week after. Anyway, Shape of Water seems to be getting a lot of traction. What else did people like? People like Lady Bird. I liked I, Tonya, but I don't think it can win. Lance?
I thought their Darkest Hour was the best picture of the year. I liked Molly's Game. I liked. There was a film with that guy, the vampire, Robert Pattinson.
Pattinson.
It was a film with Robert Pattinson where he played a criminal that was brilliant and underrated, and even I don't remember what it was called.
So that's not going to win.
Those are my three choices. Molly's Game was okay. It wasn't brilliant, but it was a good movie.
It was fine.
Yeah.
It was it was Aaron Sorkin, and he usually does a nice-ish job.
But Darkest Hour was the best film because it was not only was it beautiful and well acted, but it was very informative. I didn't know how important Churchill was. I've always heard he was important, but I didn't know that he actually made such vitally important decisions, which the film clarified. And I think it's important for Americans, particularly people like Rick, to appreciate that there are times when you have to fight the enemy. And I think liberals would rather spend money on social programs than defense, which is what they're doing right now.
You never spare an opportunity. Anyway, Shape of Water is pretty important. Spoiler alert, because people need to know that sea creatures can hook up with janitor ladies.
And I think the most important thing we learned in this session is that there's only one thing worse than having not enough elephants, and that's having too many elephants.